Dawn and Drew Show, episode 1089, coming to you from quarantine.
Dawn and Drew are waiting for you at an old farm in Wisconsin. And though that might change if they move away, I'm pretty sure they'll still do the podcast. I mean, I'd hope so, because if they quit the show, I'll probably off myself and all around me. 'Cause what would we do without our Dawn and Drew? I mean, there'd probably be a mid-level riot. Or at least maybe signing some online petitions, so they come back.
The petitions worked. The first time in the history of the world a petition has worked. I got at least tens of messages saying, please bring the Dawn and Drew Show back. And yes, here we are. I'm Dawn Maselli.
And I'm Drew Domkis. And I only printed that one petition out 10 times.
So it was just one person.
Yeah.
Well,
it was Christian who wrote the song.
he was like, I just want to hear my own song again. So you guys, thank you so much for tuning back in. We're super excited to be bringing you the Dawn and Drew Show in this time of need. The world has screamed out for their ear pussies to be pleasured, and we have responded. Instead of earwigs, we will put our voices inside your ear holes.
It's nice to hear your voice in my headphones. It's been so long.
Usually you can only hear my voice in your dreams saying, wow, wow.
Usually. It's been a year, almost to the day, that we've done an episode. So we're starting season 2 today.
Is this season 2?
Yeah, this is season 2.
It's like 10 decades, or 10 years, I don't think is one season.
What? There's no rules in podcasting. We do what we want.
We do what we want. So I have just come back home from an epic adventure here to tell you all the tales. But first, let me just say, I hope that this show finds you and your loved ones healthy and hopefully inside your motherfucking houses being safe, because we are in the middle of a pandemic. If we're listening to this a year from now, and we'll be laughing and be like, remember when we were all locked in our houses and wiping our asses with leaves? Remember that?
The glory days. So yeah, no commutes for our podcast right now, right? You're not allowed to go you can commute to your bathroom and back. It's about it. No going to work right now. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, so just in case, let's do a wrap up of what's going on.
Wait, for the past week or this past year?
For the well, I have a lot of stuff that's been going on this last year.
And the last show, you're like, I'll be right back to tell you the next story.
What was it?
Crickets. I don't know. It was spring last year. We were talking about balancing an egg.
Oh. Well, it took me a long time to balance that motherfucking egg.
I had to go to the site and I posted a little sample episode with the Why Is There a Bug on Me song just to see if everything worked. It showed up in iTunes and everything's good to go. So it's been a long time. I've had other podcasts that just iTunes kind of kicks you out if you're not active. But I think maybe because we had so many shows or been there so long, they definitely didn't kick us off.
They're like, that bitch will be back. She can't stop fucking talking.
The ghost of Steve Jobs has been waiting.
Steve Jobs. I would just like to say, I like my new iPhone. Thank you, ghost of Steve Jobs. A couple things. The new iPhone 11 that I got is more scratchy than my old phone. But I'm not going to blame the ghost of Steve Jobs on that, because he has been dead for a long time.
He'd be pissed if he saw the scratches.
And it's not really even that scratchy. And it probably was me putting I'm like, what a beautiful seashell. And then putting it in my purse.
The wide angle photos on that camera are amazing.
Yeah, we will talk about all the things that have been happening.
That's a nerd moment episode.
Yeah, we'll have to... You don't even have one, so you can't even talk about Drew.
It's so crazy now because podcasting is such a big deal these days, and we've been at it for so long.
Is it?
It's pretty big.
I'm teasing.
Especially now. Everybody wants to do a podcast, but it's
everybody?
Every single person.
Well, actually, the Maselli kids have been chomping at the bit for their chance at fame. So.
I saw your dad. Get Showbiz Dad back on the show.
I know.
Who?
I know. He's dying. We'll have to do a call-in segment. So the plan is, during this difficult quarantine time, we're going to record the show more often, because I have a lot of messages that I want to share with the world. And sure, I can just yell them from my porch, but as I live in the middle of nowhere and only the birds can hear me, it's just not as effective. So, and Drew gets sick of me ranting about my manifesto, so I thought, let's share it with the world.
Right on. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're
for
welcome.
easing my load.
Ease the load.
Ease that load.
I'll let you ease that load.
This quarantine life is kind of strange because I see everybody panicking and freaking out, not knowing what to do. But like we've lived this life for years now, so it's really hardly any different for us.
Finally, being a hermit has really paid off. We've been training for this fucking apocalypse. The only thing is I'm really thankful for a few things. So right now we're here on the farm. We have no real neighbors. We have a couple neighbors, but it's not like we ever talk to them.
Right.
So we can go outside and walk around. There's thousands of acres of absolutely nothing around us, which sometimes is boring, but right now I'm thankful for.
Yeah, me too.
I'm also thankful for that there's no zombies in this apocalypse.
Big time.
Like the fact that I am not being hunted right now, I have a lot of gratitude for. Because
I would like to share that gratitude.
So I think whenever we're getting frustrated about, like there's no toilet paper or you can't find your goddamn yogurt at the store, whatever the problem is of the day, just think to yourself, I'm just thankful there's no fucking zombies. Because that would be a game changer, right?
Yeah.
So, little things.
Hey,
the little things we will find gratitude.
I am also thankful for that.
So I had a mass, so I've been in the jungle for the last almost a month and a half.
Yeah, almost 5 weeks to the day.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be gone a full 6, and I was going to join up your last week.
Yeah, so
Sad to say I'm not there right now.
Sad to say I am also not there right now. So I've been living in the jungle of Costa Rica with all my baby monkeys and sloths and helping out at the Jaguar Rescue Center. And my bestie, Encar.
Encarnacion.
Who is from Barcelona. It was going to be her big birthday coming up in a couple days, and we were going to
29 finally.
She was finally turning 29, and it was going to be a raging party. And so when I first got to Costa Rica, it was kind of sad because we had found out that our dear friend Georgina, who was a vet at the rescue center, who I just hung out with last year when I went, had succumbed to cancer. And she had fought really hard the last year.
That was fast.
It was fast and horrible. And
Is that better or worse? Like,
what?
If it just drags on with like this hope that it's going to get better, and then maybe it does and comes back, or just like gone.
Well, they found it in one part of her body, had surgery to remove it, and then it just spread and kept spreading and kept spreading.
Cancer
And
sucks.
Cancer is horrible.
Sucks so much.
And it's difficult when it's somebody that you just love and is like the light of the room and just comes in and makes everyone happy and smile. And then all of a sudden that person is gone. And I'm like, remember when we were just drinking roadie sodies and dancing? And then 1 year later, she's gone. So like the beginning of my trip started with that really sad news. And so then Encar and I decided we were going to take a cross-country Costa Rica adventure to kind of like clear our heads and like just take a break and
Reboot.
and mourn her, but like also be able to kind of travel around and just to kind of recoup, because it's been a really tough year just knowing that this person that we all love is fighting for their lives, and then she didn't make it. So it was like kind of a shock, because it's like you hold out hope and you keep holding out hope, and you should always hold out hope. The moment you give it up is, the moment that something inside of you dies. So it was a shock. And so we went on a road trip. Costa Rica is a small country. You can actually drive all over the place. I saw USA Today say it was an island, which is horrifying.
Everybody thinks that, but it's
Costa Rica is not an island. Nor is it Jurassic Park, even though it was technically. There was an island.
Yeah,
in
Island
Jurassic.
B, Site B.
Yeah, there was. Maybe that's what people are getting confused. Michael
Right.
Crichton confused the world by talking about an island in Costa Rica. But Costa Rica is not an island. It is in Central America, and
It's
it is bordered.
between Panama and Nicaragua.
Yes. And so we drove all over the country. We went to visit a few different rescue centers there, too. One of them was called La Paz Waterfall Gardens, and it was insane because this huge La Paz River starts, at the top, and then it goes to a series of 7 different waterfalls, and they're just so beautiful. And you're just looking at this fucking waterfall, and you're like, Jesus, this is fucking beautiful.
You prayed?
I prayed to the Jesus. Dear Jesus.
Or was your guide, is his name Jesus?
No, we didn't have a guide, actually. We had so because NCAR is like a famous
Right.
biologist, primatologist, we got to just like go and say, hey, we're from the Jaguar Rescue Center. Can you give us like a free tour?
And then boom, the red carpet
yeah,
rolls right
I was
out.
like, yeah, that's right. That's how I travel. Where's my fucking red carpet? No, but we had a private tour from the vet of this whole, it's like I don't know what you would even call it. It's not a theme park, but it's like waterfalls, half waterfall park and then half animal sanctuary.
Like the regular public tour, or was it behind the scenes like our Alcatraz one?
We saw some stuff behind the scenes, but not like it wasn't like Alcatraz where like Ranger Craig took us and he's
Right.
like, no one ever goes in here. And
Yeah.
you're like, please don't kill me in here, Ranger Craig, and leave my body. Just kidding. I never felt ill at ease with him.
Well, that's good.
I just wanted to pretend
Yeah.
to add to suspense.
Hi, Ranger Craig.
So I assume Alcatraz is closed. Everything is closed.
Everything. I saw something like they're letting prisoners out in some places or something.
Well, that has always statistically proven a good idea. Although I do feel like to be locked up right now is very, very dangerous. And a lot of people in there, especially for like nonviolent crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not.
And the guards who are just doing
Yeah.
their jobs.
Yeah. There's a lot
That's
of
gotta be
people that I
crazy.
don't want to be getting sick. So anyway, the waterfall gardens was beautiful. And the animals I got to see during this trip all 6 types of wildcats of Costa Rica. And I've never done that in the 13 years I've been traveling down there.
So you're like Tiger Queen.
No, I am not Tiger Queen. But I'm just saying, it's kind of amazing to be able to say, I saw all 6 types of the cats.
That's
Because
wild.
it's a wild cat.
On my tour, I would talk about all 6 different ones, but I think I'd only seen 2.
Let's see, Mr. Tour Guide.
Oh,
Can
geez.
you remember all 6 types of wildcats of Costa Rica?
Let's see. There's the jaguar,
Correct.
the puma,
Correct.
the jaguarundi,
Correct.
the margay,
Correct.
the ocelot,
Correct.
and that last one has got a weird name. I forget that last one because I had just looked it up, but it's a weird spelling of a name.
I have to sneeze or cough.
Well, do it the other way. Quarantine.
Oh my God, I'm sick.
I forget the name of the 6th one.
Come on.
What?
What?
I forget the name of
Come on.
it. Blowing it.
You are
I was close.
fired. Your tour guide.
Wait, what is it? Hang on. I'm blowing it. I forget the last one. What is it?
You have to the end of the song.
Hang on.
Don't Google it. You remember if you don't, you
That's,
are such a fake poser. You're never gonna be a tour guide again.
5 out of 6 ain't bad.
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
Ancilla.
Oncilla. That's the one. I knew it was the double L.
And the Ancilla is one of the most rarest, and I think there's only 2 around in captivity. And I saw it, and it is fucking tiny.
Is it really?
It's like the size of a regular house cat, except
Wow.
it looks like
Except it'll kill you.
I mean,
Our house cat could kill you if we really wanted to.
really, could they kill you?
If they slashed the proper vein,
Yeah,
You'd
of
be
course.
you'd bleed
of
out.
course.
if
Sure.
they steal your breath at night.
Yes, we know that. That's
well, there
cat's
you go.
purposes.
See, that's what I'm saying.
So there's this one that's like 20-something years old, and it's just sitting there. It's this little tiny, tiny cat, and it just has covered in spots, and it's just sitting there like, and I'm just like, oh my God. So they're really, really endangered. I don't know if they fall under like the critically endangered, like what level endangered, but it is endangered, and a lot of people kept them for pets because it looks like a little cat.
They probably didn't know that it was a wildcat.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Except for you're like, you have to eat all meat. Like your diet is really, really intense.
And your car comes over for like a dinner, just a friend. They're like, what the? You think it's a regular cat.
But all these other years, I've seen the other ones, but I never saw the Ancilla. And then I finally saw not 1, but 2.
Wow.
I saw 2 in 2 days.
Is it Oncilli or Oncillas? How do you say plural? Oncilla.
There's probably not enough to even have the plural anymore. So, but it was amazing to see. And, jaguars, they're just so fucking massive. And a lot of the ones that were at this facility were born in captivity. And all the other animals were confiscated by the Costa Rica government because it is now illegal to have an exotic animal as a pet. So as also at the center, we get animals that have been raised in captivity and don't know how to be wild anymore and can't be released.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't take something that's lived for 20 some years and be like, here's the jungle.
Right.
Good luck, little buddy.
Check in a week.
Yeah. I mean, some things can be returned, and that, of course, whenever possible, that's the goal.
Right.
But some things can never. We had my favorite boy, Paco,
Mm-hmm. Spider monkey.
my spider monkey boyfriend. He lived in captivity for over 20 years.
That's crazy.
And he doesn't even really know how to monkey very well anymore.
Right,
you know.
because he probably in that whole entire time never saw another spider monkey, right?
No. So now at least he hangs out with other spider monkeys. He gets to go to the forest and go climb trees and stuff. But he's pretty much like, I have a good idea. Why don't you and I snuggle? And I'm like, that's a good idea, Paco. He's like, he likes to pretend that there's bugs on me that he eats off, and then I do it to him too.
Did you ever sing him your song?
No, I sing mostly like, who's my little boyfriend, Paco, little boyfriend. But he's 27, and he is like old man. He has this really interesting old man smell.
Yeah.
It's not horrible, but it's not great. So like, picture me sitting in this cage with Paco, like pretending he has bugs on him. He's pretending I got bugs on me. We're pretending to eat the bugs off of each other, having a great day.
He's actually eating, though.
Shut up, Drew. You know what? I'm glad he didn't get to go, because you don't deserve to see Paco and get his love. Jerk. You're a fucking jerk. How many minutes in and I'm already hate you? Oh, I don't hate you. I love you. But don't say there's bugs on me. The monkeys are eating off. So we went to the waterfalls, got to see all the stuff. We were touring all around the country. And it was pretty crazy because, you know, different animal sanctuaries have different protocols and stuff. And it's just sad to see so many animals that are, you know, being affected by being like captured as a baby and then raised, and then when they reach maturity, the people are like, this is horrible, and you're like, yeah, that's what happens. Baby monkeys are fun for a few months, and then you're like, oh, this is a lot of fucking work, and they get sexually mature and they want to bite and fuck and live away from you, and I don't know.
But the government has been cracking down on like people holding them and taking pictures and stuff like that. That's across the whole country, right?
Right now, it is absolutely illegal to have selfies with animals. So on other trips, you've been able to see me with like, here's a monkey on my head, and I'm holding baby sloth.
What happens to the people that they get busted with a pet that they've raised? I mean, that's way beyond a selfie. I mean, are they busted?
Yeah, the animal's confiscated.
I understand that, but what happens to the people?
I don't know if they get a fine or what. I don't know. Costa Rica law, you know, like the punishment is pretty lax.
Yeah.
I imagine they
12 days on the beach, please.
Yeah, I don't know. There's been people who are like, you were convicted of murder, but we'll give you 4 years. And you're like, really? Okay. Maybe 4 years in a Costa Rica jail feels like 40 years. So maybe it's a push. I don't know. I cannot make heads or tails of the justice system there. It seems very, very peculiar. So I don't know if that's just me from an outsider or what.
Yeah, maybe. It just seemed like you were always so you would tell me so many times how like, yeah, you can't take a picture with them, you can't take a selfie, but it's like, are they like policing that?
Yes, they will.
They'll bust the center.
Yeah, like if somebody's saying like, I went to the rescue center and here's a sloth. While we were at the La Paz waterfalls, people were taking selfies with sloths. So I don't know if it's just maybe more strict at certain places. But the reason they do that is because people would go and steal baby animals from the jungle and then take them to like tourist spots and say like, give me $5 or $10, you can hold this sloth, we'll take a picture. And it's almost impossible to say who's doing you know it for money gain like that. So then they just made a blanket law. It's everything is illegal.
What about like those kids that came up and showed us those little red tree frogs? Remember?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's technically the same thing. I mean, they went out and grabbed it, showed us. We didn't take a picture, but I mean, there's no cops. There's not like a patrol looking for people doing that, right?
Well, that was also in Panama, and I don't know their.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know their laws on that.
Yeah.
And this was a few years ago. The no selfie ban has been in the last year, I believe. So, you know, we take it really serious. Of course, I take pictures with the animals that I don't post.
Ixnay on the Elfie say.
Because I want to be able to see my little baby boo-boo on my head.
I want to publicly state that I'm so annoyed with people calling just a photo of you a selfie. A selfie is supposed to be a self-portrait that you take of yourself.
This is not the first time you've said this.
I know, but it bothers me.
Why?
I don't know. That Elizabeth Warren was going out as she was running for president, and she had this whole thing, I'm taking all these selfies, but it was just somebody taking a picture of her with somebody. It was not a single selfie.
So you are adamant that the selfie must be the person taking it.
That's why it's called a selfie. You did it yourself. It's a self-portrait.
Or it could be a self-portrait.
Self-portrait means you took it. You
Or a
snapped the
portrait of
shutter.
oneself. It doesn't necessarily...
No.
True.
No, don't even try to convince me. I'm pissed.
I'm glad that your outrage is directed in the right things that really matter to society.
Oh,
these
it's
days.
valid. It is valid.
You're getting up in arms over this.
We had our whole D&D 365 self-portrait thing going on for years before anybody ever called it a selfie. And now it's such a mainstream topic. I'm opposed.
You are whipped up. Do you need to have a moment?
A mo. That's what we call it here in the D&D show.
Should I take a selfie of you?
What? You can't. Shut up. You're driving me crazy.
So we went to the Pacific side of Costa Rica to a place called Kids Saving the Rainforest, which is ironic because all around
What's it called?
Kids Saving the Rainforest.
That's what the place is called?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a really nice man named Chip. All around his sanctuary, though, is no rainforest. It's gone. It's all palm oil trees.
Like
it's
we started too late.
I know. I was like, kids, you really fucked up here. So, but it's really weird. You drive through hundreds and hundreds of acres of palm trees, and they use it for the palm nut, because everyone wants Nutella and everyone wants palm oil. And so they've cut down the rainforest, except for this little sanctuary area. And I really feel like I was like, really, the kids should be blamed for this because they are not saving the rainforest.
It's like a little pocket.
It's a little tiny pocket. So I'm like, I'm glad at least the kids are saving this little pocket. But it's,
just one rain cloud over it. Just the one.
But they're it's like all these different centers doing similar things, trying to rescue and rehabilitate animals. And none of the places had as many people and like as many animals like as we do, like as and did as many rescues that we went to.
So okay, so you're traveling around the country, looking at all these different places, different spots in the country. Were you aware of this virus thing going on while you were traveling? Because that stuff was happening, but like, was there talk about it there at all?
I was aware of this virus before I left.
Oh, I know, but like I'm saying, obviously you had to come back early and shut it all down, blah blah blah. But it's like, were you guys even aware? Was there any talk or anything like that while you were cruising around?
I was aware of it, but everyone told me, like, oh, calm down, Dawn.
Really?
Yeah, no, seriously.
Tranquilo.
Yeah, and I was like, you guys. Because, as you know, maybe you guys don't know, but I have still been participating in this great experiment of cryptocurrency, which keeps me, even though I refuse to stay updated on current events and news, I do find it very interesting to watch the different fluctuations and what causes a rise and what causes a fall. And so I know back in December, or like, the beginning of January, I was hearing about this virus and stuff. And I think it's when the Chinese government said that they're going to dedicate $10 billion.
I remember you saying that.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because then I started watching a live stream of them building those hospitals in like 6 days or something.
Yeah.
But never thinking like, oh, we're going to be shut down soon. God.
No. I mean, anytime there's a country that's like, hey, you guys, we're going to dedicate $10 billion to this, you kind of go, what? What did you say?
Right.
And so then that's when I realized, I was like, okay, well, there's no way now with air travel that you can contain anything unless you completely ground the planes the very moment. And it would be impossible for trade. And, can you imagine grounding all the planes and all the boats and everything? We're so reliant on different, trade agreements with China and stuff like that. So it was always in the back of my mind, like thinking,
Your new iPhone came from China.
You know what? And I bought it because I thought
they're going to shut it down.
Yeah. I got that phone because I thought these might be actually hard to find in a little bit or hard to get. What the weirdest part is when I bought this ticket for Costa Rica, I bought it back in September. And I normally never buy travel insurance. Never. I think it's like a total scam. It seems like a scam to me. And at that point,
It might still be.
It might still be. So join me on my mission now. Is travel insurance a scam? So
Is that the title of the episode?
no, I'm gonna make a different episode about this just to see.
Okay.
So back in September, I didn't know about, obviously there was no crazy global pandemic. I didn't know, but there was some nagging suspicion I had, and it said, it's $35 for travel insurance, and I thought, what the fuck? I know I'm going to Costa Rica. What? What could possibly happen? But then...
Oh, gosh. Just look back at our history. What could possibly happen?
But then there was this intuition feeling saying, you should buy that travel insurance. And I was like, why? It's almost $40. That's a lot of money. And the ticket itself was like $397 or something, round trip from Chicago. And so I was like thinking, that's kind of a lot more to add or something. But my brain goes, you should get it. You should buy that. And, you have to buy it like right there when you buy the ticket. And so I was thinking, I don't need to buy it. None of that stuff ever even works anyway. And then my brain said, fine, but I told you so. And I was like, fine. Okay, fine, I get it. So I bought the travel insurance.
Maybe it's because all that China news just in the back of your head.
No, it wasn't happening that was September.
Oh, that's right. You bought it way early. Actually, probably was happening.
I don't know. It was December is the first time that, like, around Christmas time, like the end of November and the beginning of December. So it's like this is months before anyone ate the pangolin or whatever it is that has, set off this catastrophe. So I remember thinking like, all right, you fucking intuition. It has never let me down yet. So
You didn't drown it with whiskey.
Yeah, I was like, I thought I killed you. It was like, no, I'm still here. I've been hiding out. You can't get enough Ambien and whiskey into me, drown me out completely. I was like, okay. So I bought this fucking travel insurance. And so now, just today, I just was filling out the claim. And I'm like, this is going to be a grand experiment to see if this is even anything. Or if it's just a total scam. So stay tuned. That'll be in the next few episodes of the John Andrew Show.
Has anybody listening done travel insurance and like had it work for them? I would like to know.
I'm sure that people have.
I would like to know about it.
I would like to know about it.
Tell me about it.
We're going to need to have a new Google Voice number.
You know what's better? Actually, now with technology, it's been so long since we've been doing these shows. Everybody's got a voice recorder on their phone. Record a message and email it to me. drew.domkes@gmail.com. Done.
Here, record this. Just kidding.
I'm just saying that's the best way to get the audio comments going again.
Okay. So I did get it. We'll find out. We'll see if it's a total bullshit thing or not. So otherwise, traveling around, we were kind of on the Pacific side. It's totally different vibe. The whole time we're like, I miss the Caribbean. I love the Caribbean side. It's just like the jungle ends right at the sea. There's less people there. There's not like 30-story build, hotels and everything. It's much more remote, and that's why I enjoy it. But it was the remoteness that was starting to make me nervous because we got a letter from the U.S. Embassy saying, hello, American citizen.
You're screwed.
We noticed that you are out of the country right now. We would like to tell you to get your ass back into the country, or you might not be able to come back in the country. Prepare to be outside for a few months. And I was like, holy shit, a few months. And, it sucked because you were supposed to be coming and we were supposed to have our last week in Costa Rica together on vacation. And it was supposed to be a great fucking time.
Today's Wednesday, right? I was supposed to be there Monday.
You were supposed to fly in Monday, take a rafting trip Tuesday,
JB was coming with me on his first trip out of the country.
I know.
Oh, such a bummer.
We were just going to have a blast. And as it got closer and closer, I was like thinking like, shit, are you going to make it? And then finally it got
Every
closer
day.
where it was like, shit, am I going to get out of this country?
Yeah. And then one day, though, I remember you were like, all right, I'm going to go to the beach and blah, blah, blah. I'm not taking my phone. And I was like, I knew that. We were constantly in contact through WhatsApp or whatever. But it was, of course, during that time where I couldn't get in touch with you, where I get the email saying your flight's canceled. And I'm like, what? I was like kind of freaking out a little bit. Like, oh, my gosh, she's going to get stuck. And so I'm like starting to send messages out to your sisters, your dad, just like, her flight's canceled. I'm trying to get in touch with you. And by the time you got back, I'd gotten another message saying that it had been canceled but rebooked. It was like it was just changing flights. So I was like, a little bit relieved, but still, man, I was not comfortable until I had you in the car. It's crazy.
So, and it sucked because at that time I was like, well, if Drew doesn't get to come here, should I leave early?
Right.
And it was like playing day by day. And
Hour by hour on a couple of those days.
it really was. And so, and people were getting stranded there. Like a lot of people from Germany and Switzerland were getting totally fucked.
They're probably still screwed, right?
They might still be there. Because there was a couple of our volunteers that were hysterical because Germany was telling everyone to come home right this second. And it was about a week before everyone else was telling them, because Germans are very efficient. And they're like, we are looking at everything and you must come home now. And some of the volunteers had to spend $2,300 on an emergency one-way ticket out of Costa Rica back home.
I was so surprised that it was only $200 to get you a new flight home.
It was cheap for us because it was $100 for Chicago. And then I was like, well, how much to Milwaukee? Fuck it.
Well, your original flight had a layover in Panama. And so Panama had already shut down their borders from anybody flying in. So I was nervous about you being able to go through a layover, thinking is that even possible? Turns out that was okay.
They changed it though.
They did end up changing it, but a few of our friends went through Panama and got home.
Yeah, and they changed it a few days later where no one.
That was my biggest concern. So I was like, well, if I'm going to buy you a new flight, I'm going to get you a U.S. layover. And so I tried to get you one through Charlotte, and that was the one that got canceled, and they rerouted you through Dallas. But at least I knew that you were having a U.S. layover.
Right. So I ended up getting this ticket, and it was sad because I was like, okay, I'm going to make a video of my last day in the Caribbean. And I was really heartbroken to have to leave all my friends there. And I know that the rescue center is in good hands. It's not that. I just know that it's the amount of money that they need every single day to keep the place going is brought in by tourist dollars. And so the last few weeks we were having so many meetings and plans about what are we going to, what happens, people who become who's going to have to get laid off, really hard questions because it's in order to keep everything going, there's only X amount of dollars, saved up. And it's no one could ever have planned for this level of catastrophe.
Right. Had they ever shut down for any length of time like this? For anything?
When Sandro passed away, it was closed for a week.
Oh, okay.
And, but that was the only time, and that was, that was difficult. But this is talking about an indefinite amount. And so every day we're, I'm working the gate and everyone's keeping distance and, we're doing smaller tours and, the people are coming less and less, and on a good day, there's there could be 300 people coming. And then it started getting less and less. And but by the last day we decided we had to close and everything, we're going in isolation. And it just so happened I was, it was right before I was leaving. Mm-hmm. So my last day in the Caribbean, I did a little video and I shot a little bit from the moment I woke up saying this is my last day in the Caribbean. And then I shot working the gate and the last few people and stuff and just my thoughts throughout the day. And I wanted to go to the beach one last time. And I'm going to finish this episode on this fucking story.
Okay.
Because this is a perfect example of why I'm very glad to be home right now.
Of why the Caribbean is beautiful and a bummer.
And a dangerous place to be. So I've already established. So where I like to stay, Puerto Viejo, is about 5-hour drive from the capital city of San Jose. And you drive through a cloud forest, you drive through banana plantations, you drive all the way you're almost in Panama. You're really close to Panama. And it feels like you're at the edge of the world, So we didn't really see a lot of, I didn't see anyone sick or anything like that. We were still not in isolation. Nothing had been, there was nothing at the store that was missing, stop. Everything was perfectly shelved. And, we're just starting to catch wind of it's coming. But because it's so remote, it's slower. And so then they had their order that, the Costa Rica borders are closing and all the tourists are starting to leave. And then the town felt really empty. And so my last day in the Caribbean, I woke up, took a video. I think we'll put the video on the PP Club. What do you think, Drew?
Well, if you want. there's not that many people there.
I know, but
it'll encourage people to go check out the PP Club.
Yeah, if you want to check it out. So the day is, I start and I decided to go to the beach with my friend Heather and her friend Rachel and her 4-year-old daughter Summer. And it's a beautiful sunny day. And I'm like, I want to bring my phone so I could capture just a few seconds of my last day in paradise. And I never bring my fucking phone. I never bring my phone to the beach because I know that people steal backpacks there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's the shit part of it, but it's just some kind of weird culture thing where if you go swimming and your backpack's on the beach, somebody might run by and snake it. And, so I know this happens. I never bring anything but like my sarong, maybe a book. I never bring it. And you can even see I'm like in the room, I'm getting dressed, and I was like, I want to bring my phone. I was like, I'm not going to bring my phone. I don't want anyone to steal it. And then it's my new phone too. So then I'm like, oh, but I want to bring my phone. And then the next video is me at the beach, like, I'm at the beach with my phone. And so I'm super like jazzed just to take like a quick little 10-second thing. I'm at the beach. I'm like, yeah, I'm at the beach.
You didn't have your beach safe.
I did not have my beach safe. So as I took this little clip, and I'm here with my two friends and her daughter, and I look around and there's no one else, no one at the beach as far as I can see.
Which is typically a very nice thing.
Oh, it's usually grand, and it's the same little tide pool that I've been going to for 10 years, and I've never once ever felt uncomfortable there.
Not the district, if you've been there with us, right? It's south of the district.
Yeah, it's in front. It's like this perfect little mermaid pool where it's not too deep and not too shallow. And all the little kiddies, like all the children of they call it like the Cokeless kiddie swimming pool because even if you're like 4 years old and it only comes up to like the top of your head. And there's this perfect coral all around it, so you'll never be washed out to sea. You'll, worst case scenario, you'll get racked up on the coral, but you won't be washed out.
Right.
So it's a safe place, and I love floating there. I've floated in this tide pool for hours and hours. And if I'm usually at the beach, you could find me right here. It's a place that I'm super familiar with, super comfortable with. And I said to the girls, I was like, hey, let me take you to this place. And they had both never been there. So I was like, this is great. We have a little 4-year-old. This will be a great place for her to swim. So we get down there and we're having a great time. We're swimming, building castles, finding seashells, playing crocodile. And no one's there. And you look up and down the beach and you're like, wow, this is so different. This is like how Puerto Viejo and area used to be 10 years ago. Like it's very quiet and there's no one. And then I see these two guys approaching on bikes. And I was like, well, except for those two guys. And they kind of see us floating around in the water. And then they park their bikes about 20 feet away. And I'm like, well, that, okay, that's, that's fine. They just want to sit there. They're sitting on a log and they're watching us.
Your spidey senses went off?
Immediately. And I was like, shit, this is shit. And I'm looking around thinking like, oh, if somebody walks by or, and there's nobody. And so then the guys are talking to each other.
Could you hear them or you just saw them talking?
I could just see them talking. I couldn't hear them. It's too and they're both like, one guy was like, looks like he's in his early 30s. The other guy's in his late 20s. And, it's like, I could see them and I knew instantly this was not a great situation. And it sucked because I was like, we're with this little girl.
How long had you been there?
We've been there for maybe an hour. So just floating around and, we're all in the water. And I'm thinking, I brought my motherfucking phone. I have my goddamn phone with me, I know better. And then I knew that Heather had her phone and Rachel had her phone. We're like 3 fucking phones here.
Jackpot.
And I'm thinking, God damn it. So the guys separate and the one guy kind of starts walking like he's walking past us. And the entire time he's got his eyes all over our stuff, all over the backpacks, all over everything. And so while he kind of walked past, I snuck out of the water and I'm kind of hiding on the other side of the coral. And I noticed that his friend took off and then rode down the path a little bit. And then I saw him hide in the bushes. He tucked his bike in and was hiding in the bushes. And so I was like, oh, that's not good. And then I looked to see, I poke my head up on the other side of the coral.
Meerkat.
Yeah, I totally meerkat of the shit. I was like, I look over and I see this guy pull a bandana out of his pocket and he starts to tie it around his face.
He wasn't just trying to cover his face because of the virus?
No.
No?
He was not. Because then he turned around and he went, whoo, and like that. And I said, what the hell are you doing? And I had my little knife that I keep with me. And I kind of showed him my knife.
Yeah.
And he looked totally like shocked. Like he was
I'll
not.
bet.
Because he was like priming himself up to be like, oh, here we go, get these fucking
Right?
phones.
He was already thinking of juggling them home.
Yeah,
Like,
he was already
3 of 'em,
planning,
yeah.
like, what am I going to do with these 3 fucking phones from these bitches? And I didn't see a weapon or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see, like, if he had a gun or, he didn't have a machete. I know that for sure, but I didn't see if he had, like, a little knife or something. But I totally startled him
Yeah.
putting on his robber bandito.
I'm sure he was thinking that, I'm hoping that he was just thinking of grabbing the backpack and splitting.
Yeah. And then, so I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Like, he looked surprised. And I was
Did he
like,
say it like in English? Like what? Or like,
he didn't say anything. He looked like totally like, he was like, oh shit. Like,
Jesus?
so I'm just like, what? And I show him I have my knife.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that I look practically fucking like I'm about to go berserk.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that I look insane.
I
Like,
would
I'm
not want to be on the end of that knife after like all the things you've gone through.
No,
Like,
something is so. It's a very, very fine line of sanity that I
gosh.
retain in my brain.
sand itty?
God damn it, Drew. That's the kind of shit that's gonna make me fucking lose my mind. I'm gonna stab you. Sanity. God, that's the kind of.
Miss me?
Save me from killing him. So anyway, I surprised the man. He then put his bandana in his pocket and then sat down trying to figure out what his next
Plan B.
what his next plan was. And then I said, Heather, and she was like, I'm on it. And she went over by her stuff. And I love this girl because she was like this. We're all like giving the death stare to these motherfuckers. This guy, and she gets her sandwich out of her fucking basket, just looking at him as she's eating it. Like, go ahead. I'm so calm right now. I will eat a sandwich before we kill you.
It was
Like,
calories. She needed the energy
Yeah.
to fight.
like you do not look scared when you stop to eat a sandwich.
That's pretty
And
hardcore.
the other girl's like, I got a knife and I will go for your goddamn eyes. And then the
You
other
didn't,
girl,
cut you didn't cut a piece of the sandwich and eat it too?
yeah, I'm like, this knife is sharp. And then meanwhile, Rachel is just like
I'm glad we can laugh about it.
playing with her daughter. We're like, oh. But I'm thinking, I have a little 4-year-old girl here. You're going to try to rob us and there's a little child here?
Right.
That's not happening.
Right.
Not today, Satan. so then we ended up going, like I said, let's get our stuff and go. Because that guy was still standing there. And I was afraid he was building up his like confidence.
Right.
Like he was
I got this. I got
yeah,
this.
like I could see that he was
It's
like,
just a sandwich.
it's just a girls. It's just 3 women. That one's eating a sandwich. So,
Pura vida.
yeah, and I'll be like, the one in the cutest swimsuit ever, that's me. She looks crazy. But it's like, at that moment I was thinking, oh, shit's about to go down. And I am not letting you have my new goddamn iPhone.
You'd chuck it in the ocean first.
I would, because it's supposed to be waterproof. I'll get that back in half an hour. So, needless to say, he sat there on the log as we just like said.
You probably had to take a dump. You scared the crap out of him.
He looked like he was. There's not often when you bust a grown ass man about to rob you and then he sits down because
Yeah.
he's like, "What do I do now?" I suggest you sit the fuck down. Perhaps this is not your moment. And so we went, and I went to the, I knew that the hotel, there was a hotel right there, and I knew the back way to get in because that was the hotel I lived at for a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went up to the counter, and I was like, hey, these dudes were totally scoping out our backpacks, putting a bandana on, about to rob us. And so then the front desk guy with a couple another dude, they went down to the beach to kind of like, be like, putting their, like, who the fuck is down here, and this kind of stuff. Because I'm afraid that other people were going to be easy pickings. Because, so not only... And that's what I'm afraid of. Like, there's other tourists there. They're having, like, probably the worst vacation of their life, trying to get home. And then you get robbed on the beach. It's like, come on, people. Let's not be just disgusting for a fucking moment and try to be kind to our fellow humans.
And the poor locals are like, our windfalls are all leaving. They're all going back home.
Everyone is...
So, like, you guys were just primed to be robbed. I mean, it's like the last tourist in town.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so I mean, it was pretty much like, all right, well, that means it's time to go. Jungle law is officially enacted.
They were like thinking about their quota for next month of stolen phones. They're not going to be able to meet it.
No one's there.
That's what I mean.
So I went back to, the center. I told everyone, you got to be really careful. Everyone be diligent. And I'm still nervous because that is true. Crime happens down. It's a different mentality. It's much more common. And, but now that there's so many less people, I mean, you're talking about like 95% less people that there were 2 weeks ago.
And the people left there don't have any money. So
And they're not
shut
working.
down.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, I don't know if this guy that was going to rob us is even like a professional thief.
Right.
Or if he was
desperate.
Yeah, like if he's got a family and he's just like, fuck, let's just go quick steal some backpacks and try to get some extra money.
He's like, I got this bandana. What should we do today?
I should go try to wipe that white girl. She looks crazy, though.
It was just for the sandwich in case they made a mess.
Yeah, I just love that Heather's like, I'll just eat his fucking sandwich looking at you.
That's badass.
It was badass. And, so here is me with a fucking knife. And I'm looking around and I'm looking like, thinking, I will brain your ass on this coral. Like, I will.
Yeah.
Like, and then Heather is eating a sandwich. And then, and then meanwhile, it's so great to be a kid because she's just like, do you like my sandcastle, Dawn? I was like, it's beautiful, baby. Keep building it, okay? And I'm thinking, nothing's going to happen to this child while I'm right here. So it was crazy. So I'm glad to be home.
Yeah. So you made it.
Yes. And I will have plenty of exciting stories to share with you in the upcoming weeks as we all recover and we are all sheltering. How do you say that?
Sheltering?
Sheltering.
There's no L.
Sheltering.
Hey.
Sheltering in place. We'll bring you some funnies, tell you some fun stories. I've been up to a lot of things this last year. I went to an anarchist camp out, which I'm excited to share stories. And you have been very busy with your little skateboard situation.
I'm a skateboarder.
Are you true? You've never mentioned it before.
I love skateboarding. Did I tell you?
Once or twice.
Check out skatetosis.com. We're going to try to start up our second season.
There you go.
I don't know if I got to really, I don't know. I got to like record the speakerphone from Aaron. He's got no computer.
You'll figure it out.
Oh, I can do it. He's stressing. A lot of people stressing.
A lot of people are stressing. And so I just want to say, let's keep that in mind. We don't know the situation that someone else is in, so let's just practice extreme kindness right now. Patience with our fellow man and woman. And just take care of yourself. Wash those fucking hands. Act like you got raw chicken hands. That's the best advice I've heard lately. Just pretend that you have been touching raw chicken. You don't want to put your hands anywhere. Just keep telling yourself, I got chicken hands.
And that everybody else is a zombie.
And be thankful there's no zombies. That's a moment of gratitude.
Well, I would like to say thank you for wanting to do the show again.
Oh.
I'm sure people have been dying to hear what's going on, and so I don't ever pressure you to do shows. So I just, I'm appreciative.
Oh. Well, you're very welcome. I am a hero.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're my hero.
Now I want to eat any
I know, hero sandwich.
That sounds good. And nobody delivers here, so really we are heroes because we have to make our own food. Oh my God. Oh.
What's on the HelloFresh menu today?
Beans and rice. So you guys, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoy the show, please tell a friend. If somebody else needs a little bit of laughter in their lives, share the link. Or, tell them your own jokes. Everyone loves jokes, unless they're jokes like Drew's with the fucking, what did you say, sand?
Sandity.
Oh, don't tell those jokes. They're horrible.
Hey, don't forget adamandeve.com is still a lifelong sponsor. And while you're home, diddling yourself, get yourself something new with the code DAWN. DAWN.
I just used it the other day. And you get free gifts and some free shipping.
That's right.
So.
And you don't have to go anywhere. They'll ship it right to you. It's perfect for this quarantine time.
Everybody wins. Hey. Woohoo! Good night, Internet.
When I'm in the kitchen,
Internet,
or taking a bath,
Internet,
for news or easy listening,
Internet,
or making me laugh,
Internet,
morning, noon, and night.
Good night, Internet.
It's just right.
Hey, it's Psychofan Jeff, and I'm down for the new episodes of The Dawn and Drew Show.
Dawn and Drew, I love those two. Welcome back, try not to hack on each other. Welcome back, Dawn and Drew.
Oblivion out.
Hey Drew, it's Jeff the Midget, just south of Nashville. Also, hello Don. Sorry I left you out. Things are pretty dull down here. Stuck in the house. 2 dogs. 2 adults. 1 teenager. Don't know what to do. It's my birthday. Today's my birthday, so that's exciting. So happy birthday to me. Yay. Alright, love you guys. Bye.
Hello, Don and Drew. It's Ranger Craig from San Francisco. Sure, I'm glad to hear that you got back home safe, Don. That must have been quite an experience traveling back into the country under the circumstances. Hey, I love you guys and miss you, and am glad you're both healthy and doing well, and glad that I was the first person in the United States to piss off the President of the United States, Donald Trump, because it was me sitting at home on the day of the inauguration that accidentally posted as the National Park Service the side-by-side photos of the inauguration. Total accident. The Park Service was totally supportive, and I continued doing social media until retirement after that. But I can say I was the first person to piss off the current President of the United States. And I'm kind of proud of that. Bye!
Kim the imaginary friend here, saying, Why is there a bug on me? Has something to do with karma, has something to do with me. I really hope there aren't any bugs on anybody. And I'm really glad you're doing a show. Nice to hear from you.
I don't know what a voice memo app is, but I want to be on the Don and Drew show. If this is the way you do it, then sign me up, because I'm up here in Canada. First of all, this is Donovan, and I'm up in Canada freezing my balls off up here with Eskimos and the polar bears. You got to lick the walls for water around here. It's fucking freezing. I hope I end up on the show anyway. I just want to say hi. I love you guys. But if not, I don't care either way. Just say what's up. Later, gang.
Hey, Don and Drew. This is Raph in Tucson, Arizona. Just gonna keep it short and sweet. Fucking glad you guys are back. Rock on.
Sandity? Really?